Okay, there's my name. For anybody who can't read, that's Ben. Um, so I would like to talk about something that really matters to me. Um, Real unconditional love, not a never-ending feeling like happiness or affection, and not lust, but real, authentic, genuine caring about someone else. Selfless love, not selfish love, putting someone else before yourself, but not the same as not taking care of yourself either. Self-sacrificing, I think, is the best word. So now I say that that's my definition of love, but I didn't always do that. I was very afraid and selfish, to be frank. But what can you do? When you're being selfish, you really can't be selfless. It just doesn't work for obvious reasons. But I got that definition from my belief in God. And I know a lot of people that would sound strange to nowadays, but I did grow up with that. That's where that definition came from. Now, I know a lot of people that only like to trust in what they can see and prove nowadays, but the problem is that if you try to prove something like that with science, it really doesn't work, because science it's about the natural, the material. The God that I came to believe in, my beliefs, they went beyond that. So science just couldn't completely answer that. You need to find some other way. So I decided the best way to try and answer this question was by testing this definition of selfless love and seeing if it actually worked. But as I said, I didn't do that very well. I was being very selfish. Now, the other thing is that I was doing it because I wanted to be loved, but I didn't really want to love other people back or completely commit to it. I would stop at the point where things would get difficult for me, or just when they were pretty bad, to be honest. And when I did try to give it my all, it wasn't enough. I could never keep doing it. It was too much for me or anyone else to handle. So I kept going on like this, and it led to a lot of suffering and personal suffering. Not everything you suffer for is a bad thing, but when I was 13, situations kind of got out of control. How best to say this? I was at a point in my life where there were things I couldn't help. It sounds cliche, but I was being bullied. I came home to a bad family situation. I had no close friends, you name it. So it basically got to a point, because I was trying to do this and I couldn't do it, and everything was going on that I couldn't help, that I was debating suicide, because I just didn't know what else to do. Now, throughout this, I hadn't stopped believing in God. I was certainly doubting at the time, though. I think that's fair to say with anybody in that kind of mental state, among other things. So my last desperate attempt or hope was to turn it to God and to give it to Him, which, for people who don't know what that means, which is probably most, that just basically means that I was asking for help because I couldn't do it on my own. And quite frankly, I wanted to do it on my own. I thought that was the only way that would make sense, but, selfish. Regardless, I turned to God, that is Jesus Christ, and I asked for Him to help me, and I made a commitment to actually really love others regardless of how it made me feel. And whatever else happened to me. And things got better, kind of freakishly so. Like it wasn't instantaneous. I didn't stop suffering. I still deal with a lot of stuff I don't like right now. But things happened that I couldn't explain. Like people talk about coincidences and how things always seem to work out in the end. Well, these coincidences were off the scales of anything I'd ever seen. They don't make statistical sense. It's like something happens once in 1 billion times, and then it keeps happening over and over again. 5, 10, like, it didn't make sense. I thought I was going crazy. Maybe I was. Maybe I am. Regardless. But it just kept happening more, and I trusted in it. And the more I trusted, the more it happened, which was also very scary. But in the end, I don't really have any other explanation for it. I know I couldn't do it on my own. I tried, even with other people's help. When it was good, I couldn't do it. And I couldn't do it when I was being selfish either. I had to give it all my all, and had to rely on other things. The only thing I have to say about that is that it was Jesus. So that's all I've got.